fine, everyone. About 30 something years ago, I had a boyfriend. I was so young, I was in college and stupid. And I had this boyfriend. And then, like, a couple of months after going out and, everything was happy, he started being very controlling. And um, and that was before cell phones, right? Because 30 years ago we didn't have cell phones. And when he couldn't find me, or if I told him that I was going to be in school, in college, and I wasn't, he would find me and he would beat me.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I had bruises in my face, bruises in my arm, and my mom and dad would ask me, like, "Hey, what happened?" Because they didn't know that I had a boyfriend. So they went, like, "Hey, what happened?" I said, "Oh, I hate something." And so because I bruise easily because of, I guess, I don't know, lack of some vitamin, they didn't think much about it. And then one day, I decided, well, to break the relationship. Okay, this is it. I'm through. I'm tired of this beatings. And then he got worse.
Oh, wow.
Then he became a stalker. And so one day, I told him, well, okay, so he said, we need to talk. And I said, we'll talk, but I want other people around. Don't want to go anywhere near to you, just the two of us. So he said, okay, yes, well, I'm here. He told me, I'm here with some friends. So you can come over and we'll talk. Okay. Stupid me. I went to this apartment building. It was on the fourth floor, big floor. And his friends were there, and we're having like a get together, and not a party. It was daytime. It was like maybe 1 o'clock, 2. And I think I was coming from work or going to work. It was a weekend, Saturday or Sunday. And I told him, with all his friends around, that that's it, no more. Let's just be friend, but be friend
from a distance.
Very long. So he pushed me to the balcony. And he grabbed me by the neck, and he started strangling me, and he was going to push me from the balcony. So his friends came over, and they were, wrestling with him, like, hey, leave her alone, and what are you doing? You're crazy. So they did. So they were able to get him, out of, he was almost on top of me. And part of my body was already on the balcony rail.
Oh, wow.
So some of his friends, they were all male, all guys. They grabbed me, and they were so cute and nice. They didn't expect that from this guy. They were all in shock, like, what's wrong with you, man? So what I did is I went to the police. I pressed charges. And I was just like 20 years old. So the process at that time, we're talking about 30 years ago, domestic violence in Latin America is such a taboo. You don't talk about it. You keep it behind doors. So at that time, they were not treating women with the respect that probably we needed. Because he left me marks on the neck. So his fingers, you could see the marks on my neck of his finger because I was bruised. All my finger, all my neck was bruised all over here. And so the police told me to go to this place where I guess that's where they do they have doctors and they check you and take photos. So they took photos and check, and they checked me and they said that I was going to be okay. And I went back home, and I was wearing, I was trying to cover my neck, so my mom and dad didn't see that. So I had to, he didn't get arrested. The police didn't do anything. So what they told me was like, oh well, just do an order of protection, and if he calls if he's near to you. And I'm like, by that time I'm dead. So I did the order of protection, and I had to talk to my mom and dad and tell them I had this boyfriend that was beating me. So luckily his parents were people with some social status. So we decided to use that to force him to leave me alone. So my dad called his dad, who happened to be a lawyer, and we all had a meeting. That's a joke. We all had a meeting. And in that meeting, he said that I was the stalker, that I was the one calling him, that I was the one calling him and telling him that I couldn't live without him and all that. Right? And at that time, we didn't have cell phones, so I couldn't show them the pictures of the bruises that I have in my neck, and the bruises in my face and my arm, because he started pushing me one day. He was angry, and because I was late, and he punched me here in the arm so many times that I was bruised like I was in an accident.
Wow.
But it was over. That meeting with his parents. His parents told him not to contact me, and I would not contact him. And I was like, yeah, don't worry about me. And and that was it. But the charges were still there. I never got
dropped them.
Yes,
they never.
It's still.
So they never went forward with anything,
no. So he called a few months later, and he threatened me and my dad again, and so shortly after, that's when I met my husband. And my husband was really supportive. I told him what was going on, and at that time, husband was strong and younger. So I felt safe with him, and also at that time I was working for the U.S. Army. So I told I had to report him with the police that he will not come on post.
Yeah.
So because to go to any army installation or military installation, you have to have ID or something to get in. So I made sure that he will not come on post because he threatened my boss. He called I don't know how he got that number. He called my boss, he threatened him, and that was it. So He was banned from coming on any military installation. So this person is very violent. Um, if, shortly after I moved here, and we're talking about 30 years ago. I simply disappeared. My parents never told anyone where I was. Not even my extended family know that, or that I got married, or that I have a new name. Nothing. I'm on Facebook, but with a different name, and so nobody could find me, right? And we're still. I'm still scared that he might show up one day, and finish what he never could finish. I don't know if he's alive. I don't know anything about him in the last 30 years, but that's why I'm not on social media. Because I'm always afraid that he will really finish what he couldn't finish. One day, he followed me. I was going to work. It was Saturday or Sunday. And I was going to work on Saturday morning. And I could see him in my rear mirror that he was following me. And I was so close from the army base, so close. And I started speeding because he was getting closer to me, and he hit my car in the back and lost a little bit of control. So I decided to pull over, right?
Okay.
And see what he wanted. I kept my distance. I pulled over, and there were no houses at that time in that area. It was a wooded area close to the canal, and he came in and parked behind me. And he went and grabbed a rock, and a big rock like this big. And I saw that, and I was trying to talk to him, calm him down, and he had to talk like this, and I said, calm down, I'll go with you, just let me go get something. I don't remember what it was, but he let me go, and then I got into the car, and I went straight to the main gate, and I told the MPs that not to let him in, that he's banned from coming in. And they were so kind. They were very kind. They told me to stay there with them and wait until he will be gone, and that was it. And this was just 1 year. I only dated him for like 3 months, maybe.
Oh wow!
And the rest of the year was nothing but stalking me, like that, following me. I think that he was the one who once hit my car. My car had a big dent, and I'm like, wow. Where did this come from? I mean, he would do weird things. I think that once he saw me with my husband, that he stopped.
So that incident was before you and your husband got married, and before you started dating him? Okay.
Yeah, before I met my husband. Once I met my husband and we started going out, and at that time I was really, my group of friends were people from soldiers. Because those were my coworkers, so I was hanging out with them. That's when he just finally left me alone. So nobody really knows where I am. Nobody really knows my real name. Friends.
So is your name different than what I know you as? Or,
Well,
you don't have to tell me
no,
what your.
my maiden name. People know my maiden name.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
But
You
they
changed it
know
when
my
you got
maiden
married.
name.
Okay.
I
Okay.
kept that totally, very, very. And I mean, nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knows. So nobody can track me
Mm-hmm.
because one of the things that my mom and dad were afraid of, and why I had to cut ties with friends, is that he probably knew some of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom and dad told me, you simply just cut every friendship you have. And I did.
Mm.
And I did. And my friends were my coworkers.
Yeah.
So, until I got married.
Yeah.
And then I moved here.
Well, I'm sorry you had to endure that. That seems like a bit much.
So domestic violence is. I'm glad that now there is a little bit more of protection to women, but not enough. So every time I see on TV a woman killed by a boyfriend
Mm-hmm.
or the husband, you see it on TV all the time. Oh, got shot by the husband.
Yeah.
It really gets into me because I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I know what is that, and we were not even married. We didn't have children,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what is that. And at one point, it was either it was me or him. I told the police, let me tell you something. If it's coming to defend my life, I'm going to defend my life.
Mm-hmm.
And the police didn't do anything. They didn't. It's not like they didn't care. It's that they didn't know what to do.
So the first time, I guess, that the situation happened, were you just like too afraid to tell your dad or tell anyone?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Did you think he would say something?
I was so ashamed to be in that situation. And because it just didn't make sense that I would meet this guy that was so controlling and so violent. I never experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what to do. And that happens to a lot of women. They
Mm-hmm.
feel ashamed of coming forward. And they try to manage this on their own. But when the violence escalates, they start here,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can see that they can do more and more. And then they get to a point where they feel that that's it, I'm going to go all the way. And that it happens. And so I understand women that they just disappear. They just change their names and start over in other places because you feel ashamed, you feel fear, and not only fear about you, but fear about your mom and dad and sisters and all that. So mom and dad are gone, but I still have a sister and nephew. So I still have to be careful about them because I don't know if this person, this ex-boyfriend, if he's alive. I don't know. Maybe he died during COVID. I don't know. He was older than me. He was probably 15 years older than me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With children.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So no names and no location. So no names or location.
Well, you want me to edit some of that out because you just location.
You can do it. I know that you will.
Okay.
I know you will.
Okay. Do you want your face to be blurred out?
Yeah, probably
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case, because like I said, he was very violent.
Okay.
Um, and I always knew that he would try to finish what he started.
Mm.
Um, so I'm so glad that my younger sister, got married. She lives in another location. So there's no one at my mom and dad's house, where they died, and
Mm-hmm.
we got rid of all the furniture and everything. So next time I go, we're going to see what we're going to do with the house.
Mm-hmm.
We have to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We're going to sell it, and that's it. He will never know, if he's alive, what happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I ask you something? And I don't want to mitigate anything. I just want to understand, and maybe this will help me understand maybe situations with all women, and maybe help other people understand that too. Where does the shame come from? You know what I mean? Because it's not shameful from the outside looking in. It's not shameful because you didn't do anything wrong. Something happened to you. So I guess I'm trying to understand the shame component of it. Where does that come from, do you think?
That's a very good question. At least for Hispanics, our parents have a lot to say about who we should date, who we should marry. So they have to approve. Um, and I knew that he was not the type of person that my parents would like for me. I met him in one of those moments when I was so young, out of college, so stupid. I didn't know about life, and I thought he was cool. And that's what happens when you're so young and you meet someone that is cool. So you feel that, oh, that's awesome. But then that's when you realize that, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Now he knows where I live. He knows my parents. He knows my extended family, and that's where we feel ashamed.
So it's almost like a shame that you brought this type of person around your family and everything. Okay.
Exactly, and that's how we feel, and I think that that's why many women don't come forward when it happens the first time, because not because we think that it's not going to happen again. It's because having to talk about this with family, you need to know that he's crazy and he can show up at any moment. That is really hard to do. And when I had to talk to my parents about it, I felt that I felt like I could still see my mom's and my dad's faces. They were so disappointed. Wow, they were so disappointed.
Do you think? Do you think they were disappointed, or do you think that they were just upset that their child was in that situation?
And that's a good question. I hopefully it was the other way.
Because I think sometimes we put our own impressions into it. And I just know, for me, from the standpoint of a father now who, I have a daughter who's about the same age. And also from a standpoint of a brother, because I've had a sister, it's I wouldn't judge that situation. So maybe that's something that people just need to hear, that know that, the men in their family are not going to, I can only speak for me, but I'm not going to judge that situation, because I know that there's some people who mask themselves as something that they're not. But when the mask come off, you have to come to, this is our job as men in your life, is to be there to protect you from these situations. And so I think that a lot of people, the reason that it escalates is because of that shame that you're speaking of.
Yes.
But from the standpoint of a father, of a brother, I'm not going to look down on you because you found yourself in a situation. I want you to get out of that situation as soon as possible so it doesn't lead. So, you know, and just make sure you don't go back. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so I guess that's just something that I wanted to kind of voice on that subject for other people who may watch this, you know.
It's to admit that you made such a huge mistake. You disappoint everybody around you, and when the situation doesn't stop and continues, and you know, it's been a year, we're still dealing with the situation. My parents decided never to change the phone numbers, our main home phone number. And it's still the same today for the last 40 plus years. We still use landline. We decided never to change that and never to show fear. That's why you remember that day I said, I was ready to fight.
Oh, yeah.
He told me never to show fear, always to, you know, to face my fears and fight for my life. We had to get to that point. We had to get to that level because we didn't know what he could do. So that's when I had to be really strong and learn how to fight pretty much. So